on W. Tell you who's having a birthday, talk about the latest social and business activities, bring in Mike Moss from the Weather Center, discuss racing with Ned Jarrett, plus WGBR's Morning Magazine. Rush Limbaugh even shows up for breakfast. Hear what everybody's talking about on WGBR's Morning Show.
After this weekend's love fest in the media and what will be another 4 days of it, aren't you glad that this program is here? The Rush Limbaugh program, with an opportunity to vent, an opportunity to hear the truth, an opportunity to have the lies that are so far too numerous to mention responded to effectively and concisely. Yes, you are glad, and you are here. It's the Rush Limbaugh program. This is the EIB network, and a full week's broadcast excellence kicks off now.
This is a special edition of the Rush Limbaugh program. America, the way it ought to be. And now, from our studios in New York City, here is Rush Limbaugh.
Thank you, Johnny Donovan, and thanks, everybody. Nice to have you along. It's 800-282-2882 if you would like to join us on a program. And we certainly would love to hear you, Mr. Snerdley, eagerly now. Going through the phone calls that we have, screening the best ones and getting them ready to go. My friends, we open today's program with a musical interlude provided to us by the National Education Association Chorus, recorded over the weekend in Chicago.
We say we care, we make things fair, especially for the poor. We fanned your fears for 40 years. Please give us 40 more. We're left wing, then we're right wing. We'll say anything for your vote. We'll have America right by the throat.
Hey, I don't think this sounds very compassionate.
Upbeat. We need to sound more upbeat.
Yeah, let's pick up the tempo a little bit.
1, 2, 3, 4. Happy days can't come again if the people all vote dumb again. We can swing that pendulum again. Happy days can come again.
Sounds much better.
I thought that was great.
More like
Okay, big finish. 2, 3.
From today's poll, play today's role. Act like Bob Dole or his wife.
Hi, Hillary.
We'll run America and we'll run your life.
We're Democrats.
Remember us on November 5th.
Yeah, we'll remember you on April 15th.
Let her go. Thought we'd get their convention off on the right foot, ladies and gentlemen. That's the National Education Association Chorus. Other associated union types thrown in. Well, where do we start? I mean, we are burdened here, ladies and gentlemen, with too much material. The trick here is to organize it all into some semblance of a responsible presentation. Now, we have Clinton on his whistle-stop tour from Huntington, West Virginia, where he started all the way through Ohio today and into the convention later on this week. And I'll tell you what, for a guy who said that we were not going to have any personal attacks or any of this viciousness that we ostensibly heard from the Republican convention, it sounds like he's already forgotten it. Al Gore especially has been on the prowl. And before we get to the president, because he's not in Chicago yet, let's go with Vice President Al Gore. Vice President Al Gore on Saturday was at a pre-convention rally in Grant Park and made a speech and had some interesting things to say. By the way, everybody has been wondering whether or not the media is going to try to stir up trouble with the Democrats as much as they did with the Republicans during their convention. And they're at least making a face-saving gesture at trying to do so. I mean, they're at least asking one question about the welfare rift. We'll have to see just how insistent they are actually on the floor of the convention. But they're also spending a lot of time at Grant Park. You know, they had this Love-In at Grant Park, a healing concert. They planted, was it a weeping willow tree they planted there? And everybody seems to be going to Grant Park because that was the sign of the fracas back in 1968. And the media is doing live shots from Grant Park all day long. It's like they're hoping that somehow the past will come to life once again and other protests will arise. And you have to say that, I mean, they clearly, either that or they're going to Grant Park to show how there won't be any of that and that there's total healing and total love and total compassion now and total understanding. And let's listen to Vice President Al Gore, ladies and gentlemen, as he spoke to the assembled multitudes in Grant Park Saturday afternoon.
Now, just last week, Bill Clinton demonstrated what leadership can provide.
Listen to this.
On Monday, he helped rebuild a church that had been victimized by arson in Tennessee. On Tuesday, over the opposition of Dole and Gingrich, he raised the minimum wage for 10 million working families. On Wednesday, he reformed health insurance to make it portable at long last. On Thursday, he reformed welfare. We're going to fix the problems and make it work correctly. On Friday, he protected America's children from tobacco, which is addictive no matter what Bob Dole says. Let me say, President Clinton, on behalf of all of us here in Chicago, where I've just been welcomed here, I'd like to presume to speak for all of us here today to say to President Clinton, for this past week and for every week over the last 4 years, thank you for leading America back on the road to prosperity.
Yes, sir, Bob. Well, they're fired up. Now let's go through this. On Wednesday, he reformed health insurance to make it portable at long last. On Thursday, he reformed welfare. Quote, we're going to fix the problems and we'll make it work correctly. On Friday, he protected America's children from tobacco, which is addictive no matter what Bob Dole says. And today, he's going to end hurricanes, ladies and gentlemen, after having ended humidity 2 months ago. Now, none of these things that he listed that I just mentioned, reformed health insurance, reformed welfare, none of those would have happened were it not for a Republican Congress. He had no way he was going to get any of those things. His version of health care went down in flames. Members of his own party wanted nothing to do with it. And reforming welfare, gee, and they're making excuses for this. This is the thing. Even Gore here. We're going to fix the problems and make it work correctly. If there are problems that you find, veto the thing. And fix it when you get your Democratic Congress in power back in November. Why don't you guys express a little comment? We'll sign this now. We'll fix it later. Don't worry about it. Hey, can you imagine? Liberals are really having to bite the bullet here. And I'm going to tell you something, folks. They're going to bite the bullet through the election. But when this election's over, all hell's going to break loose. Because you're going to see the Democratic primary sweepstakes heat up the day after Clinton's elected, figuratively. Gephardt, all these other guys running against Gore for the nomination in 2000. The liberals have come out of the woodwork and demand that all this stuff that Clinton did to get reelected now get fixed, like welfare reform and other such things. And they're doing a good job of presenting a picture of peace and love. But I'll guarantee you that within the depths and soul of the Democratic Party, there are some people really, really holding their noses about this. Now, about all of this, let's go to tobacco and things for just a second, and the economy and everything. The point here that needs to be made, because as the president has talked about all this the great things that he's done for tobacco and for kids and stopping tobacco and all this, the drug problem, as we discussed last week, has just skyrocketed, and it's worse than anybody's ever thought that it could be. And it's been traced now to the year 1992. 1992 and forward, the drug problem's gotten really bad. The Republicans have said, see, it happened on Clinton's watch. Clinton didn't care about it. Clinton paid no attention to it. Drugs went crazy. The Democratic response is, oh, wait a minute, it started in 92. That was the last year of the Bush administration. This started with one of my predecessors. This was started before I even got here. I had nothing to do with this. All right, let's give them that for a second. Let's just grant that. Let's all right, the drug problem started in the Bush administration. This recent escalation, 1992, fine. So whatever happens from 1992 on, the president says, that is not my fault. I can't claim any blame for that or credit for that. I mean, it happened before I got here. I couldn't affect those things. I mean, that's what all his associates and the defenders are saying. Am I not right? Yes, I am, as I usually am about these matters. So what's next? Well, they're touting the economy. They're touting the deficit coming down. They're touting economic growth. They're touting all of this great economic news. I ask you, my friends, what year did the economic news begin to improve? Wasn't it 1992? I think it was. I distinctly remember the fourth quarter of 1992 having a growth rate of about 4.2%. That's double, almost double what's happening now. And it continued. And the President of the United States, Bill Clinton, when he announces his economic policies, of course, in 1993, they're not voted on until later in the year. In 1994, his policies don't take effect until then. Yet the economy's continuing to just go crazy. So using their same rationale for absolving themselves of any association with the drug problem, how can they then turn around and say that something that started in 1992, economic recovery, is something they had anything to do with? See, they're not consistent. They will say anything. Never forget this as you watch this convention. As far as the 1996 version of the Democratic Party, as nominated by Bill Clinton, is concerned, actions don't count a whit. It is words. Words mean everything. Saying something is the same thing as doing something. Saying you want to do something is the same thing as accomplishing it. I don't for a minute think that Bill Clinton would have tackled this smoking problem if it were after the election. I don't for a minute. I don't think he cares. I don't think Bill Clinton gives a whit about all of these, this welfare reform. You know darn well that he wouldn't have signed that bill. This is nothing but words, symbolism over substance. He really believes, and there's good reason for it, the polls indicate it, he believes in his power of persuasion with the spoken word. And he also believes something else very crucial, and that is that who your enemies are, and therefore who you choose as your enemies, is a great way to define yourself. And so he's, I'm sure, very confident that it's the words that he has spoken, the enemies that he has chosen, that are getting him where he is. I mean, how else do you explain this welfare bill that he signs and then immediately says, we'll fix it next year? I had to sign this thing now, but we'll fix it. He wanted to take the political issue off the table. Now, there's more of Al Gore, and we'll get to Al Gore and some of the other things that he said on Saturday and through the weekend in Chicago. We'll do that right after this break, plus your calls are coming up again at 800-282-2882. So don't go anywhere, folks. We'll be right back.
You're listening to the EIB Network.
Hello, my friends. Well-known chainsaw expert Rush Limbaugh here with great news from Poland, the leader in chainsaws for 50 years, and they're still growing. And you know what that says about them? It says that the Poland people know what they're doing. Now, let me tell you about their latest product. It's the new Poland Woodsman chainsaw. and it offers professional features for the weekend cutter at consumer prices. The Woodsman has more features per dollar, and it's more powerful and cuts faster than any of its competitors. The Poland Woodsman chainsaw is ruggedly built for durability. It's got a large volume muffler. It comes fully assembled, too. You don't have to put it together. The Woodsman has a fuel primer for easy starting, and because of its side handle spacing and low vibration, it's comfortable to operate. This, my friends, is a great piece of equipment. Take it from one who knows and loves chainsaws. Timber! So whether you enjoy using a chainsaw for the recreational benefits or if you just want to go out and cut some firewood with a big smile on your face, go see and get the Poland Woodsman. Now, why should you get the Poland Woodsman? Because it's the best.
I'm Victor Kayam. Air travelers are discovering airplanes, unique earplugs that eliminate ear pain and discomfort during takeoffs and landings. Listen to Devin Morgan.
I'm a private pilot who's been grounded 2.5 years because of a severe inner ear infection. Your airplane stopped the pain, and now I'm flying again. Thank you so much for giving me a very precious part of my life back.
When you take the plane, you don't have to take the pain. Get airplanes and children's airplanes by Travel Smart at drugstores, mass merchants, and supermarkets.
Computer Pro, the professional's choice in Kinston, provides the highest quality computer systems available to businesses and personal users alike and are custom configured on location. Computer Pro uses only quality parts from highly recognized manufacturers in the computer industry and offers a 2-year warranty on all parts and labor. Due to ever-changing technology, customers will eventually need to upgrade their computers. So Computer Pro offers a full range of quality computer systems and technical support services at your fingertips. Find out more by calling 523-1665. Computer Pro, the professional's choice.
Good day, Mr. Phelps. This is a photograph of James Finch Chevrolet. Notice the truck department. Your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to take your team to the truck department at James Finch Chevrolet. You'll see all the new Chevrolet trucks. Test drive them. The new S10s, the pickups, the Astrovans, the Blazers, the Suburbans, all of them. There's a reason, Jim, why more people are buying new trucks from James Finch Chevrolet, and we must find out why. We know they have a great selection. Check out the finance plans and leasing arrangements. You'll probably want one of these new pickups for yourself. We'll allow that. When you have this information, report back to me. They're at 400 West Main Street in Bailey, LBJ Chevrolet Buick in Nashville, and Finchwood Chevrolet in Roanoke Rapids. Good luck, Jim. This tape will self-destruct in 5 seconds. James Finch Chevrolet, where the impossible is possible.
Now through the end of August, Colony Gift Shop celebrates their anniversary with store-wide savings of 10 to 70%. It's a wonderful time to buy yarns, needlework kits, collectibles, and hundreds of gift items. There's even a box of assorted books on needlework with values to $5.95 for only 50 cents each. Needlepoint, 20% off. A table of assorted gift items, half price. Save 10 to 70% store-wide now through the end of August during the anniversary sale at Colony Gift Shop. 116 South Center Street, downtown Goldsboro.
Wayne County's news and Limbaugh leader, 1150 WGBR, Goldsboro's very own.
Welcome back. Rush Limbaugh, big smile on my face. Once again, enjoying life, having more fun than a human being should be allowed to have. And you know why? Because, my friends, it's a privilege and honor to be able to talk here into the golden EIB microphone, to be heard by 20 million Americans and have a chance to discuss these great issues that we all find so crucial and important. Discuss them with you on a daily basis. Not only is it stimulating, it's educational, and it's therapeutic, too. I know how frustrated many of you get. You watch the news on the weekend, you watch it during the day, and you just got to shout from the mountaintop what you think about all of the lies that the Democrats say, the bias that the press engages in. But you don't have that outlet. I do, and I'll tell you, when I finish the day, I feel satisfied. And some of you feel very frustrated. But that's what the program is for, so many of you can call and get it off your chests as well. Back to Vice President Al Gore. Now, to set this up, I want to play for you an ad, a television ad. We got the audio track of a TV ad that AFL-CIO was running earlier this year in an attempt to smear and lie about the Speaker of the House, Newt Gingrich, and his ostensibly expressed views of Medicare. Here's how that ad went.
When you're older and you're sick, Medicare's more than health care. It's peace of mind.
Now, we don't get rid of it in round one because we don't think that that's politically smart. We don't think that's the right way to go through a transition. But we believe it's going to wither on the vine.
Last year, Congressman Frank Riggs voted with Newt Gingrich to cut Medicare and give new tax breaks to the wealthy. Now comes another vote. They're after Medicare again.
But we believe it's going to wither on the vine.
Now, my friends, that was an out-and-out lie. They took that clip of Newt Gingrich totally out of context. When the TV show was up and running, we showed you this. We've played this on radio before. It happened again yesterday. Vice President Gore was on This Week with David Brinkley and got away with it. He said, I tell you who's sitting there, George Will, David Brinkley, Sam Donaldson, and Cokie Roberts. And he wants it, and this is why people are getting fed up with the mainstream press. This is no longer a secret. I mean, my gosh, if I can ferret this out, and I don't have the resources of a network at my disposal, I got some mighty good people, but I don't have the resources of a network. If I can get to the truth of this, why can't they? Vice President Gore said that Newt Gingrich wanted Medicare to wither away on the vine. They're back to the same old fear-mongering and scare-mongering tactics that require lies. And those four people on that show just sat there and let it go by. Now, one of two things is the case. Either they didn't know that this is a lie, or they did and just didn't feel like it was worth challenging or interrupting or asking further about. In the latter case, you know, you scratch your head. In both cases, you scratch your head. How can you not know about this? As big a deal as Newt has made about it, as big a deal as the Republicans have made about it. Now, I want to play for you the actual audio of Newt Gingrich where this statement came from, and you will see how it was taken out of context. You, if you're hearing this for the first time, probably think that Newt said, I think Medicare will just wither away on the vine. That's what we want to happen. Not what he said. Listen now to the entire clip in context.
What do you think the Healthcare Financing Administration is? It's a centralized command bureaucracy. It is everything we're telling Boris Yeltsin to get rid of. Now, we don't get rid of it in round one because we don't think that that's politically smart. We don't think that's the right way to go through a transition. But we believe it's going to wither on the vine because we think people are voluntarily going to leave it.
Healthcare Financing Administration, the huge government bureaucracy that administers all these programs. It's what you have to go through in order to get your Medicare or Medicaid benefits. And Newt was saying in this speech, we are going to change the way Medicare occurs. We're going to increase the benefits, but we're going to get rid of the federal subsidy of this, and the states are going to run this program, and we're going to offer options to seniors. We're going to let them choose their doctors. We're going to let them choose the place they go. They're not going to have to stay in the federal Medicare program if they don't want to. We're going to give them an option. They can stay in the federal Medicare program if they like, but they don't have to. And we think, and this is what Newt was saying, we think that they will choose to leave the program once they find out how good our alternatives are. And by voluntarily leaving the Healthcare Financing Administration, it was felt by Mr. Gingrich that the program the agency, the administration here would wither away on the vine, not Medicare. Listen to his clip again, knowing what you know now. He's talking about the fact we're going to set up an option. We're going to give people an option to leave Medicare if they want and choose their own doctor, or leave the current system of Medicare, still have Medicare, but go about it a different way, choose your own doctor, pay your own bills, and with a subsidy rather than just have everything done for you. This way you get a better price, you'll have more flexibility. And in doing so, we think this administration that funds all this will just kind of wither away on the vine. Listen to it one more time.
What do you think the Healthcare Financing Administration is? It's a centralized command bureaucracy. It is everything we're telling Boris Yeltsin to get rid of. Now, we don't get rid of it in round one because we don't think that that's politically smart. We don't think that's the right way to go through a transition. But we believe it's going to wither on the vine Because we think people are voluntarily going to leave it.
Voluntarily going to leave it. We think it will wither away on the vine. We think people will voluntarily leave it. We're not going to force anybody out of it, and we're not going to see to it that it withers away. We think it will wither away on the vine. Now, Al Gore knows this, the Democrats all know it, and the press ought to. There's no excuse for them not knowing. There's no excuse for these people continually allowing this lie to be gotten away with. And as far as we're concerned on this program, they won't. 800-282-2882. Back with more after this quick break, my friends. Stay with us.
That's my friend Mike. He doesn't want to hear what I'm saying because, well, I'm talking about prostate health. There, I've said it. Sorry, Mike, but you know those frequent trips to the bathroom at night? Well, you should know about Propomex. Propomex is an all-natural supplement that supports prostate health. 2 Propomex a day, and in about 4 weeks, you'll start seeing results. That satisfaction guaranteed or money back, Mike. Propomex, the natural choice for prostate health at food, health, and drugstores. Learn more. Call 888-899-3000. You listening, Mike? Use as directed. This is WGBR News, Goldsboro's very own.
For WGBR News, I'm Thomas Vick. 3rd District Congressman Walter B. Jones Jr. says President Clinton's decision to allow the Food and Drug Administration to regulate nicotine is nothing but a game of politics. Jones says Clinton is blatantly defying the Congress and the Constitution. Jones adds Congress makes the laws, not the FDA. An FDA regulation mandating black and white text-only ads for tobacco products tramples the First Amendment. According to Jones, unlike Bill Clinton, the government should stick to the Constitution and trust the federal system in curbing teen smoking. The 104th Congress has made a recent stand against this kind of regulation last year, and Jones says he feels a Congress will do it again. Governor Jim Hunt has stated he will as well fight against this type of regulation on tobacco because he does not feel it's proper and fair to the tobacco industry, especially in North Carolina.
The various Democratic speakers waddle up or slink up or snake up to the podium to make their speeches. I want you to listen very carefully to the things they say because they speak in code now. Liberals cannot say what they really mean. Liberals cannot tell you, for example, they want to raise your taxes when they do. They have to come up with code lingo to send the message to other liberals at home and on the convention floor to let everybody know, hey, don't sweat it. We're still here and we know what we got to do. But they just, when they target here the great unwashed, the undecided, that fragile little 15 to 20% of the electorate out there, they can't dare tell them the truth about what they intend for fear of turning them off. So, here's a little translation assistance, my friends. If you hear any spokesman at this convention say we need to invest in anything, we need to invest in, that means spend more tax money on whatever they say. If you hear them try to rally the country to the need for this investment, they will say investment takes commitment. That means you've got to smile when we raise your taxes. If they say that they are going to end corporate welfare, that means they're going to raise corporate taxes. If they say that the gap between the rich and the poor has gotten way too large, that means they're going to raise capital gains taxes. If they start talking about economic justice, and you'll no doubt hear the Reverend Jackson use this phrase frequently, economic justice, that means raise taxes on the rich. Do you see where this is going? Virtually everything they say on the floor of this convention or in an interview with a journalist, the answer to it, what it really means is they want to raise somebody's taxes. If they say, for example, that they got to balance the budget without cutting services, that means look out, everybody's taxes are going up, even the poor. Even you people on the earned income tax credit who think you're doing so well because of Bill Clinton and this Congress. will just take a sharp eye and look to the left, because that means that they want to raise everybody's taxes. If, for example, when the president gets to the podium, if he says, Hillary and I want you to know, that means if you don't like what I'm saying, blame it on Hillary. If he says, as Al Gore and I have said, that means if you don't like this, blame Al Gore. When he talks about our brave men and women overseas, that's code for we know they shouldn't be there for the reasons that we sent them, but they're there anyway, so we got to thank them. When he starts talking about taking guns off the streets, when they say we've got the Brady bill, Sarah Brady's going to speak tonight, going to get guns off the streets, what that means is leave the criminals on the streets. And when he starts talking about his cat, our cat Socks, here comes some homespun humor to show he's a real guy, still in touch and caring about you, the average American person. And, of course, you'll hear extremists, divisive Republicans, divisive Americans, all these things. And basically, whenever you hear any of that, they're talking about the Republicans. If you care about Time magazine, this is interesting. The issue out this week focuses on Dick Morris. And I read a little preview of this piece. I don't have the magazine in hand, but Time sends out press releases with various excerpts from the big stories of the issue this week. And they finally got around to doing a piece on Dick Morris, who's the only reason Bill Clinton is where he is. It has been Dick Morris who has steered Bill Clinton to the right, toward Republican issues, toward all these little things about caring about people. And it's interesting about Morris, the way it's written here in Time magazine. I read now from the magazine, what is astonishing about Dick Morris is that he sits as the right hand of a president who cannot trust him. Morris is a Democrat and a Republican. He's gone back and forth like Clinton has, all over the place. And the bottom line is that Clinton cannot trust the guy. Here's another question from the story. How did such a rogue become the most influential private citizen in America? The lesson of the Morris years may be that it takes an advisor with no core ideology to make Bill Clinton search for his own. And they asked Carville what he thinks of Morris. Quote, Morris is running a different campaign than I would. He thinks the way to go is trivialize the big issues and hop on the small stuff. I think that's stupid, but you notice who's running things. A little discomfiture there on the part of the Raging Cajun, who ran the campaign last time around. Guess who's sponsoring huge fundraiser parties and social events at the Democratic National Convention? Well, in addition to Hollywood, yeah, I mean, Hollywood, that's a no-brainer. You know that the Hollywood left is going to be there with all their money and glitz. No, it's a tobacco company, Philip Morris. Philip Morris gave $30,000 to the Democratic Senatorial Campaign Committee for hospitality events and additional money to the Democratic Congressional Campaign Committee for a dinner reception. Philip Morris spokesperson Darienne Dennis said, guess what? Democrats take our money too. We are not anywhere we are not wanted. So Philip Morris is sprinkling the green around Chicago for Democrats in the Congress and Democrats in the Senate to throw big bashes. Just thought you might like to know that. Now, here is back to Vice President Al Gore once again. He made a speech to 300 Jewish supporters yesterday, and get this. He said that if the Republicans swept Congress and the White House, quote, I truly believe our personal and religious liberties would face grave new risks, unquote. No, he said that. I'm not making this up. How could I make something like that? I wouldn't have the guts to say that myself. I mean, this is fear-mongering and scaremongering, because you know what? He's talking to some Jewish people here, and without saying it, who he's talking about is the Christian Coalition. He's talking about Ralph Reed. I mean, it's a reference to those people. Gore
he confirmed this. He asked the audience to imagine what would happen, quote, if the same coalition that has called the tune for the Gingrich-Dole Congress also controlled the executive branch and controlled the next 2, possibly 3 appointments to the Supreme Court. So he's out there trying to scare Jewish people about the Christians and their, marching Christian soldiers. I mean, my friends, why do this if you have such a large lead in the polls? Why do this if you're trying to present yourself the party of love, understanding, and compassion? If you're trying to say that the other guys are extremists and mean and cold-hearted, why go out and say this kind of stuff? I mean, if by the way, if anybody here can make the case that freedoms are eroding under an administration, need we only look at this one? And need we only look at the last 30 to 40 years of this party and what it has done to people's freedom? And it's slowly but surely, it's gradually eroded. It's incrementally happened, little by little, so little at a time that most of you didn't notice it until that final straw that breaks the camel's back is passed. But this is beyond the pale. And this, my friends, from the administration, which once again said that there would be no personal attacks and no divisive comments during the Democratic National Convention directed at anybody on the Republican side. Now, they may say, well, this isn't the convention yet, Rush. This was the Saturday before it. This was Vice President Al Gore, and he was talking in his speech. He wasn't in the convention. Come on. If that's what they want to do, then take note of how they're fudging their promise. I mean, it's just, it's not surprising to me, actually. I want to sit here and say it's shocking, but it actually, it isn't. President Clinton himself last night on a CNN interview, did you hear this? President Clinton says that he's going to help pay the legal bills of all his associates who have had to be brought before courts of justice in the Whitewater affair. He said if he stays healthy, there always is an out. Now listen to this. And besides, what is he going to do for money? He's had to go out and put his hand out to the American people for his own legal defense fund. What is he going to do to come up with the money to pay all these people's legal? It's another example of the words. Is in his mind, I'm sure, if he never contributes a cent to any of these people, the fact that he said he might or was going to is enough for good graces and good favor and a note of achievement. He said he wanted to, if he could, and that's all that counts. You have to have known people like this in your life, my friends, who try to get away with saying something rather than doing it, express an intention rather than engage in activity that results in achievement. And they think they've done the same thing? He said this, when I'm not president anymore, if these people have legal bills, when I can, I'm going to do everything I can to help raise the money or to earn it myself or pay it. Do I feel terrible about the completely innocent middle-class people who've been wrecked financially by this? I certainly do. I didn't abuse them, and it's high time that the people who did take responsibility for what they do. I feel bad. My friends, these people are in trouble because they had the misfortune of being associated with him. To say that McDougal is innocent, to say that Susan McDougal is innocent, is a stretch. They've been found guilty by a jury of their peers. But this statement here says it all. When I'm not president anymore, if these people have legal bills, when I can, that's an easy out. Well, I can't right now. I just can't. I don't have any money myself. I can't. I'm going to do everything I can. When I can, I'm going to do everything I can. Is that not a contradiction? To help raise the money, raise or earn it myself or pay it. So, and then he says this, if he's healthy, he did throw this in, and if he's healthy, he will engage in. So, it's again another classic example of, well, hey, by the way, my friends, if he's going to invoke his future health is if he's healthy, and if he can, let's see his health records. Let's find out if there's reason to suspect that he might continue to be healthy, or what in the past he thinks makes his health questionable. Anyway, I'm a little bit long in the segment. Let me take a quick break here, and we'll be back. 800-282-2882 is the number. Do not go anywhere.
You're listening to the EIB Network.
You know, it never ceases to amaze me how people will buy things without trying them out first. Hi, I'm David Orrick, maker of the world-famous 8-pound Orrick XL Hotel Vacuum. And I've spent 2 years and well over $1 million to develop an ingenious solution to your drinking water problems. It's called the H2 Orrick Twin-Cylinder Water Purifier, and I want you to try it before you buy it. In your own home, absolutely free for 15 days. I guarantee you will see the difference, smell the difference, and taste the difference in your tap water. As I said, it's risk-free for 15 days. Decide to keep it, and H2 Orrick costs about 10 cents a gallon. With all the hoopla over drinking water problems, you owe it to yourself to take the Orrick Challenge and try my amazing H2 Orrick Twin-Cylinder Water Purifier free for 15 days. Call 1-800-842-8900. That's 1-800-842-8900. And remember, don't ever buy a product without trying it out first, not even mine.
Can you believe a Kincaid solid cherry king-size bed for less than $900? Believe it at Jernigan Furniture. A Kincaid solid cherry king-size rice-carved bed, list price $18.90, now only $899. Kincaid solid cherry queen and tables are a solid value at $199 to $279. A solid cherry home theater on sale now for only $11.99. Full or queen-size poster bed listing for $1069. It's now only $499. That's less than half price. Matching nightstand only $299. Kincaid's Cherry Mountain Furniture, an incredible selection of solid cherry home furnishings. By the piece or by the room. Save up to 46%. And while you're shopping at Jernigan's Furniture, look for sizzling summer savings on Restonic mattresses, too. From the Crown Royale at only $99 for the twin size to the Legend Collection with prices starting at $199. Ask about Jernigan's in-store credit terms. Jernigan Furniture, 2101 East Ash Street, Goldsboro.
Price sells cars. Leith Chrysler, Plymouth, Jeep Eagle, Dodge, Isuzu has a brand new 96 Dodge or Plymouth Neon, only $169 a month. Sale priced at $11,495. A brand new 96 Plymouth Breeze, sale priced at $14,795, only $224 a month. Leith also has great savings on program cars as well as pre-owned cars and trucks. Leith Chrysler, Plymouth, Jeep Eagle, Dodge, Isuzu, Highway 70 West Goldsboro. All prices plus NC sales tax tags and $178 dock fee.
Academics Plus, the summer source for education, is ready to aid students in their study needs. Whether it's study skills, preparing for next year's subjects, or going to college, Academics Plus has a plan for you. Reading, writing, or math, including Algebra 1, 2, and Geometry. Free consultation without obligation. Call Drs. Ken or Marilyn Bitten. For basic education needs, SAT prep, and other educational assistance, call 735-PLUS. That's 735-7587. Academics Plus, educating for success since 1989.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. One more little bit here of Al Gore. He said this, and this has even been characterized by the press as an unusually harsh personal attack. And by the way, I don't care about that. It can be unusually harsh personal attacks all they want. That's what politics is. But they said they weren't going to. Vice President Al Gore said this, quote, "With equal measure of ignorance and audacity, this two-headed monster of Dole and Gingrich has been launching an all-out assault on decades of progress on behalf of working men and women." Yeah, and your president just signed legislation, Mr. Al Gore, that ended the 60-year entitlement to welfare.
just signed the legislation. Why did he do that? I think it's also important here, ladies and gentlemen, to look at the makeup of the delegates of this convention. And I want to remind you, last week, I explained to you the differences in how these two parties define diversity. The Republican view of diversity encompasses the diversity of views, of opinion. The Democratic version of diversity is defined specifically and exclusively by outward appearances, whether someone's black or white or Hispanic or red, green, or brown, whether somebody is sexually oriented toward heterosexual